Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining us, our YouTube channel for this week, Thursday, January 21st. It is today. My name is Charlie Castro. I want to thank you for being in with us today. I think this is about our 10th one of these, and we've had some really good success with this. And so we will be continuing with our YouTube channel throughout the year. We'll post these once a week. They last 20 minutes. So if you're just starting to listen to this, you've only got about 19 and a half minutes to go. So again, my name is Charlie Castro. Thanks for being in. Today we're going to be talking about some new lists that we get in this week. What we try to do on this podcast, we try to just profile the week's inventory. So whatever we got in this week that's new is what we're going to profile. We will continue to carry over some things from last week. There's a few lists that are still available out there. I'll bring those up as well. Today I'll be covering this week's inventory. As I said, if you have a pen and a paper, be prepared to take down some listing numbers. What we're going to do is on each slide, I'm going to highlight or profile a certain list of properties or a tape or portfolio. It's going to have a number associated with it. So you want to take down that number. That way, if you contact us, we can, you can say, send me tape number 809, and we'll know what tape that is. So get a piece of paper and pen out. We do have some new REOs available. January's list of REOs is over 1,800, so I'll be showing you that list as well. We've got some new NPN lists. I've got a couple of new Michigan lists, particularly in Detroit. We've also got a Michigan list in from a seller this week that has Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana at some really deeply discounted prices, so we're going to be talking about that today as well. What are our goals in these broadcasts? I get asked a lot. People call us up and say, you guys stop, you guys meaning me and Phil Folks, why did you guys stop sending out your lists in mass blast format? And I think most of you probably know the reason for that. It just got to be crazy with regards to, lists getting rebranded and resent out, kind of bouncing around the internet, going viral. And so we're trying to protect the integrity of our sellers' lists. Our sellers appreciate that very much. If you're a seller on this, you'll know that we will not send out any list any longer unless we have contact with a buyer or a buyer's broker before we send them the actual list of properties. We're trying to weed out the buyers from the pretenders. There's a lot of pretenders out there. We spent a lot of time last year, Phil and I both, talking to people on the phone about buying stuff, and they were never really buyers. They were folks that were brokers, which is fine. We love working with brokers. We have a broker network that we love working with. Have all the respect in the world for them. But I'm talking about people that just didn't have a real avenue to buy something, and they were typically they were trying to acquire a list to publicize it, put it on LinkedIn or put it on Facebook or put it on whatever. And so we're trying to eliminate that and eliminate that time. As I said, trying to eliminate our list from going viral. Nothing was worse than having somebody call you up and saying, Charlie, I gave you my list to market for me and some guy just tried to sell it back to me. There's nothing worse than that happening, so we're trying to prevent that in the future. As I said, we're trying to save everybody a lot of time and give access to all the inventory that we get each week. Our goal here is to be able to showcase the inventory that we do get and show you what's available. And then, of course, you can contact us and we can send you all the deep details about that particular list. Current market conditions, I did this last week, but prices have certainly stabilized. If you're looking for large tapes or portfolios that are stabilized, cash flowing, that was the bread and butter back 2-3 years ago. Everybody was looking for turnkey, cash flowing, performing assets. Just know, and there's still some available out there, no question about that. But you cannot buy those any longer at 50, 60, 70% of value. You can still get bulk pricing, but bulk pricing is not what it was even 6 months ago. And I know that from experience because I've had some people be very, very angry with me the last 6 months because they would submit an offer on a particular list of properties or portfolio of properties, and they'd come in at 70%, which is a pretty awesome number in any market, and it would get rejected. And we've seen the last couple months is that particular product going up in price. Now that doesn't mean you still can't get good inventory. You can, but it's in the REO side. So it's in the vacant properties, the inventory that needs rehab, that needs to has some little tender loving care or even a lot of rehab work done to it. But the REO stock, and I'm going to show you some examples today, is where you get your good buys at. You can still buy there at 40, 50, 60%. There's lots of inventory out there. We say to people every day, we say, if we can customize you a list, if you tell us what your buying criteria is, right down to city, state, zip code, our database allows us that everything we get goes into one database. My son, Matt Castro, controls that database for me, and what he'll do for you if you send us an email and say, I'm looking in Wisconsin, and these are the zip codes that I like. We can cut you whatever we've got in Wisconsin and send that to you. We've really gone away more from just mass blasting stuff out and hoping somebody likes it and will buy it, as opposed to now saying, tell us what you're looking for, because we have access to so much inventory now that even if I don't have something, generally I can put my hands on it. So let us know what your criteria is. Tell us what you're looking for, and even if we don't have it, when we do see something that comes across our desk, your information will be in our database. We'll know to contact you with that particular piece of inventory that you are searching for. People ask us all the time, how do you guys get so much inventory? There's no secret to this, by the way, folks. This is just, first and foremost, it's relationships. Let me define that. Phil and I met when Phil was a consultant for a couple of hedge funds, and I was providing those hedge funds with property. And how I did that was simply by networking. I just learned to network and met a lot of people all across the country. And if a hedge fund said to me, this is our buying criteria in Kansas City, I'd go to Kansas City and find people there that had that kind of inventory and develop a relationship to where we could provide that inventory to that particular hedge fund. Same thing I'm saying to you on today's broadcast. Tell me your criteria, just like a hedge fund would tell us. Tell us what your criteria is, and we'll go find it for you. And so that's how we sort of got started, me and Phil together, and we just developed a lot of relationships along the way with people like wholesalers. Now, a wholesaler is somebody that's in a market, they live there, they buy the inventory from the courthouse steps, they rehab it, they put a tenant into it, they know the areas, they know the schools, they know the crime rates, they know the values. Those are wholesalers, and we deal with a lot of those all over the country. I mean, if somebody calls me up and says, hey, I got somebody in St. Louis, it's like, yep, boom, no, I know who to call in St. Louis. So wholesalers probably be number one. Second is bank contacts. Phil especially, that's more him than it is me. But he does have some people that he knows at some banks, so we do get bank tapes. The institutional sellers is interesting because I used to sell to the institutional buyer back when they were buyers. Now they're sellers because they're selling more stock now than they're buying. And so we still maintain those relationships. When they stopped buying, we didn't make enemies out of anybody. We just sort of went a different path as did they. But now you're seeing some of those institutional buyers come back around and say, we're looking to liquidate some of our inventory. Charlie, we know you guys have a big database of buyers. We'd like to be able to give you some stock. Now, this is another one of the reasons why we had to go away from mass blasting out tapes, because if you do that with an institutional buyers list, you're a dead duck. And so we just couldn't do that anymore for the integrity of the seller, whether it be small or large, but in particular, that large institutional seller who's going to entrust us with their list to market, they're not going to trust us for very long if we take that out there and it goes viral and ends up as being wallpaper on LinkedIn. So institutional sellers is another source of ours. Private sellers, absolutely. We have a lot of those. I'm going to show you some tapes today. They're from private sellers, guys that either buy from banks or buy from funds or buy from the courthouse steps or tax deeds or whatever it might be. We deal with a lot of those guys in different markets. So private sellers. Property management companies, we deal with a couple property management companies, and they're some of the best people to deal with because guess what? They've got all the information at the touch of a button. So we love dealing with property management companies. And then the other thing is many of you may not know this, but our mailing list now is over 10,000 strong. I got started doing webinars for like AccuPlan and UDirect IRA and Mid-Atlantic Financial back in 2009. And through that, we developed an organic database of people looking to buy inventory. And so our base got pretty big. It now includes buyers, sellers, brokers, wholesalers, you name it. If they're in this business, they're probably on our mailing list. If you ever sent me an email, it's going to probably go into my mailing list. If you want to opt out, you can certainly opt out. But it puts you on our list so we'll notify you of what we're currently up to. So that list is obviously a great source of information. And that includes, for example, let's say you decided, hey, I need some properties in Portland, Oregon. That's a market you can't get stock very often in. If we know that, we'll go to our database of people and say, who out there knows wholesalers in Portland, Oregon? So that's the depth of what that database means and how it can benefit you, the investor. Okay, tape number 901 this week. Now these homes have all been, now these are in Detroit, and my mistake, folks, I should have put Detroit up there. No, it says Michigan. Okay, it's in Michigan. These are primarily in the Detroit area, but they're really scattered all over Michigan. But this is unique. I have all kinds of inventory in Michigan. I'm going to show you a couple different lists during this podcast. These are a little bit different in that these are homes that have been rehabbed all in the last 3 months. Now, I don't mind telling you how this came to me. This was a company who owned a construction company, a real estate company, and a property management company that was buying and fixing and selling properties to a large fund that marketed through, how do I put it? They marketed through seminar sales is the best way to phrase it. And they were huge and they did huge numbers. Well, all of a sudden they stopped buying in Michigan. Why, I don't know, because right now Michigan's one of the hottest states in the country. But they stopped buying there, and now this company's got a bunch of new product that they've just in the last 3 months have rehabbed. There's 50 of them. They're mainly B and C class neighborhoods. They've done the construction to them. They manage the houses in-house. There's one property in particular on Cherry Hill Avenue They point out to me that it's priced about $10,000 below market value and it has a tenant that's on a 3-year lease. It can be cherry picked. They do require a proof of funds. They will not allow an inspection on the property until you proof up and send me an LOI. Now, don't. People always say to me, "Well, how can I send an LOI if I haven't seen the property?" Well, you make an offer. It's contingent upon inspection. If you don't like something you saw, then you can certainly go back and rescind your offer or submit a different offer. But they're going to require POF and they're going to require a letter of intent before they give you access to the property. These are all like B quality homes, folks. These are nice. These are some of the homes, guys. I got all 50 pictures of them, so if you wanted to see them, I can send you the whole list, of course. But these got nice cap rates, nice rents. This is an $850 rent. Next one's an $1150 rental, almost a 13% cap. These are excellent properties, all recently rehabbed, all in the Michigan area. So contact us for that tape. It's number 901. Now, I said I had a couple new ones in Michigan. This is 117 REOs. Contrast to the one you just saw, those ones we just looked at, those are all performing, occupied, tenanted, rehab, done. These, on the other hand, are all REOs. Now, they're all vacant. They all need some work. These are not trashed. This guy got a great deal from these from a bank. They're in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. You can cherry pick these. Asking price if you buy the whole thing is $1.3 million. It's about $12,000 a door. It's a super, super priced tape. It can be cherry picked, and it's an awesome list to buy and flip. Whoever's going to buy this is probably going to flip it. Be my guess. They're going to buy it. They're going to put it under contract. They're going to sell it for $20,000 a door or something. It's way below market value. I've got all the photographs on these. It's tape number 903. There's 117 of them. They can be cherry picks. They will entertain individual. This is what I was talking about earlier about where you get your values at is in REOs like this. You're getting these way. Do they need work? Yeah, they do need work, but that you're still going to be way below market value as opposed to a performing portfolio. You're going to pay 70, 80, 90, 100% of the fair market value. Tape number 904 is a single note. Now, why are we promoting a single note? Here's why. This is a fund that we'd like to get access to their inventory. To do that, I told them I'd prove my worth by selling a couple of their notes. They gave me a few. I sold all but one. I've got one left. It's $32,000. It's in Charleston, South Carolina. You can read the notes. It's a non-performing note, 3 to 6 months away from becoming an REO through foreclosure. The borrower is deceased. It has a strong potential for deed in lieu even sooner. Single-family residence, 3-bed, 2-bath. Property is worth about $48,000 as is. After repair values is $75 to $85. After you fix it up, you can buy that for $32,000. That's a non-performing note in Charlotte, South Carolina. That's number 904. Now, this one here is really interesting. This is an REO. These are 3 homes in Birmingham. These are REOs. These are all vacant. Let me think about that yes, they are all vacant. So you can see the price on these things is $149,000. They're willing to discount it to $99,000. That's what I'm talking about. With REOs, you can get some really good buys. This is tape number 905. 3 single-family homes in Birmingham, Alabama. I ran some Zillows on these earlier today. They're way below market value, all 3 of these. And I've got a whole bunch more like this. This seller has a list of probably another 25 in this area. We picked out 3 of the better ones, negotiated a really good price on it down to $99,000 from $149,000 asking price. That's tape number 905. Now, I put St. Louis up here today. Now, I'm just going to illustrate what's going on in St. Louis. We're going to be doing a couple of these YouTube channel videos featuring just St. Louis. They're saying that St. Louis may be the hottest market in the country in 2016 for rental property that's already been rehabbed and rented and whatnot. So I want to give you an idea of what's going on down there. We're getting stuff down there that's ridiculous. I mean, look at these rates of return: 23%, 15%, 21%, 21%. I mean, these things are like really underpriced. Cash flowing extremely well. These have all been rehabbed. They've all been rented. If I told you how many of these I have, you wouldn't believe me. I've got a contact there that was actually I worked with during the hedge fund days. He was the guy that would get me stock in St. Louis. And he's got a whole bunch of inventory down there that we're drawing from. We'll be promoting St. Louis more, talking about the area there and why that's a great place to invest in, even though they've lost their Rams here to Los Angeles, where I live, which is exciting for us here in Los Angeles. Still a great market in St. Louis. Okay, Birmingham, Alabama. Now, I got a couple offers that are coming in on this. Matter of fact, I got a conference call in 20 minutes with one. I think we may be getting an offer on it, but I'm going to leave it up here until we have a firm offer on it. These are 25 homes in Birmingham. The seller was willing to finance this with 20% down. So it's a $1.2 million asking price, so about $300,000 down, not even that, about $240,000 down. You're into that for 25 houses. It's got a 13.5 cap. These have all been rehabbed in the last, I was on a conference call with the seller today, so I know all this particulars. They've all been rehabbed in the last 12 months. Some have been rehabbed in the last 30 days. Of the 25 of them, about half of them are Section 8. He's willing to entertain a number of different finance options, including a 50% down at 12% interest. So he's got a couple different finance options. The cool thing about this is if you step up quick enough, he'll let you cherry pick this. Minimum of 3, but if you buy at least 3, he'll still offer the financing, which is very unusual. Typically on something like that, the seller's only going to take financing if you're going to buy the whole thing. He's willing to just as little as 3 finance you as little as 3 for as little as 3 at a time. That is tape number 907. That's 25 in Birmingham, Alabama, with seller financing. Tape number 908. I have probably 200 of these right now. If you're looking in Detroit, we just got the phone a little while ago with a property manager in Detroit that's selling these on land contracts, rent to own. That's the hot thing right now in Detroit. You buy these houses for $2,000 and then you sell them to an owner occupant on a land contract for $2,000. You get your money back, and then you collect $400 in rent every month. It's a great program. I haven't gotten I haven't worked out all the details yet, but this might be something to where you could buy these types of properties and through this property management company get them to find the tenant, rent it out, collect the rent for you. Could be a serious cash cow for somebody. So I really like that model a lot. So if you're interested in that, contact me. It's tape number 908. But I've got a whole bunch in Detroit right now that are under $5,000 each. Okay, this is a nationwide group. Now, these are probably going to be sold by the beginning of next week, but again, I left them up here this week. These are NPNs. When they originally brought these to us, they were at $4.8 million was the fair market value, and they were willing to take $1.9 million of that. That was 40% of fair market value. Could be cherry-picked, minimum order of 5, but you can get this right now for $1 million. This seller wants these off his books. They are everywhere. They're all over the country. But for $1 million, for $1 million on this, you know, this is a ridiculously well-priced tape. Now, you're talking about down in the 30% of fair market value on these. So tape number 909 is 83 nationwide NPNs. You'd have to act fast in this. I've got a couple people right now that are getting close to pulling the trigger on this. And what they're going to do is if you're in the note business, what you do is something like this. You take these down at $1 million. You start selling them off individually for a heck of a lot more than what you paid for them. That's how both parties interested in this tape. That's their strategy. They're going to buy it. They're going to take it down, and they're going to piecemeal it out. Tape number 909, 83 nationwide NPNs. Okay, this is our latest list in the United States. This is our latest national list of REOs, and this is what I talked about at the front of the podcast today. That is, these are where you get your discounts. This tape here, I will predict right now that by the end of this year, I will have sold more for this particular group than any other group in the country. These are all over the country. If you tell us what market you're in, we'll customize you a tape. So I'm not going to send you the whole. If you notice how the tape is done, if you look in the column that says state, that's how it's listed. So you could have, if you're looking for Alabama, for example, you've got to look through 1,800 properties to find the 5 that fit you, right? What we say is just call us and tell us where you're looking at. We'll make a list for you that's only in that area. Just give us the zips, the state, the county, whatever you want to give us, and we'll make a tape that'll fit right into that particular footprint. So there's a couple things I love about this. First of all, here's how the protocol works. You contact us, tell us your market, we send you the list in that market. You then send us back the ones you're interested in. You tell us which ones you want to go look at. We send you the access codes. Usually takes me less than 1 day to get you an access code. You go look at them, you make your offer. The other thing I love about this tape is that cash price to the far right, that's not firm. Now that doesn't mean you can come in at 40. I had a guy today that offered on 4 properties in Ohio, and on every one he offered less than 50% of asking. You can't do that. These are already deeply discounted. You can get great deals on this list, but you're not going to. These guys aren't giving these things away. But you can get great prices. You can get well below market value. Not even say in some states you can probably get as little as 40% of fair market value on these. So tape number 910 is 1,800 national REOs. They can be cherry picked. You can buy 1. You can buy 100. You got to do your own due diligence. You got to check for liens. You got to do all that stuff. But You can get some great deals on some great REOs off this tape. Again, we do more off this tape than any other list. This is kind of our bread and butter list here. So that's our YouTube channel video for this week. I again kept it right at 20 minutes. My name is Charlie Castro. That's my contact phone number there. I put my son Matt's information up there as well. If you want to get a list, if you want to get something sent out to you, if you want to tell us your criteria, if you want to ask questions, you can contact myself, obviously. If you're just looking for a list, you can contact Matt, matt.castro91@gmail.com. You give him his criteria. He'll cut. Matt does this probably 4 hours a day. He just cuts lists for people in their particular marketing footprint. So with that, that is our YouTube channel for this week. Everybody have a blessed week out there. Hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.